Hi there. Welcome to another Tuesday Talk. I recently talked to a business owner and I asked him, what do you look for when you're hiring people? And you know what? The answer wasn't 25 years of experience. It wasn't a master's degree in something. It wasn't the ability to code in some kind of special software language. It was none of that. It was quite simple. He said, I want people who are able to figure shit out. And I quote, I don't want people that are going to run into a roadblock and come to me for the solution. I don't want people to run into a roadblock and stop. So, how do you figure shit out? Well, start with finding and defining the right problem. And this is something that, when you reflect on it, we often don't do. We often jump right into solution mode, and we don't think about taking the time and define what the problem truly is. To illustrate this point, I'm going to ask you to put yourself back into 1886. Back then, there was this problem. Horses just weren't fast enough to get people where they wanted to go. So the people at the time, they probably put together teams, committees, subcommittees, task forces, you name it, they put it out there. They put it out there to figure out how do they make the horses go faster. And they came up with all kinds of solutions. But these two German guys, Carl Benz and Gottlieb Daimler, they went after a different problem. They were trying to figure out how to get people from point A to point B faster. And that's how the automobile got invented. So make sure that you really define the right problem before you jump into solution mode. Once you've done that, the next step is to simplify the problem. Many times we define a problem and there are so many different elements to it, and that doesn't work. It's really hard to solve for something that complex. It's important to break down that problem into its most basic elements, simplify it, and then get to the root cause. Start with the superficial things, the symptoms that you see, and ask why they are occurring. Then ask why that's occurring and that's occurring. The idea is you're going to ask why again and again until you no longer get an answer. And that's when you found the root cause. That is what you have to solve for. Solving for the other things, the symptoms, those superficial things, that won't help. And once you have that problem set up and that root cause identified, the next step is to come up with as many solutions as possible. Be creative. Be crazy even. The idea is to be really, really creative. Get all those ideas out there. This will then put you in a position to be able to choose the best solution. And a great way to do this is by elimination. So when you have this big list of solutions, there'll be a lot of them that are just too creative, too crazy, too weird, it just won't work. You can scratch those off right away. Then, the remaining list, you might eliminate things that are too costly, or will never get approved by senior management. Now, make your list even smaller. Eventually, you'll get to a small list where you can really just start looking at each one and choose the one that's going to be the most effective that'll get you the best return. By going through this process, you'll find that you end up figuring shit out. You end up figuring it out in ways that actually work. It'll reduce your failure rate quite a bit. And the cool thing is that you can use this process on big things and small things. We usually think in terms of big problems. We think of solving the automobile problem or the horse problem or the COVID problem or whatever the big problem of the day is. But the reality is you can use this for every problem. Say you can't figure out how to make the copy machine work the way you want. You can use this process. Starbucks doesn't have your favorite chai latte today. Use this process. Use it a lot. You'll find that once you do, it'll start becoming second nature. It'll become automatic the more and more you practice. So go out there this week, figure shit out, and make it happen.